Bangkok, 1971. The air hangs heavy with heat and diesel fumes. Somewhere in the Thai countryside, on a film set carved out of jungle clearings and corrugated iron, a man is about to face the most important fight of his life, and no camera will ever capture it. His name is Bruce Lee, and the man walking toward him isn't an actor. He isn't a stuntman playing a role. He is a professional Muay Thai champion, scarred from real rings, hardened by real blood, fueled by real contempt. He believes what every fighter in Bangkok believes at that moment, that Kung Fu is theater, that Bruce Lee is a performer, not a warrior, that tonight, in front of nearly 100 witnesses, he will expose the truth about the man the world is, beginning to call a legend. What happens next will be whispered about for 50 years. Crew members who saw it will debate the details until they die. Some say it lasted 30 seconds. Others say 2 minutes. But every single person who stood in that circle agrees on one thing. It was devastating. And only one man walked away with his reputation intact. Now, for the first time, this is the full story of the secret fight that changed everything. To understand why this fight happened, you have to understand who Bruce Lee was in 1971, and more importantly, who he wasn't yet. The Western world barely knew his name. In Hollywood, he had spent years being told no. He had created a television series concept called Kung Fu, a show built on the philosophy and fighting arts he had spent his entire life mastering. The studios loved the idea. They hired a white actor to play the lead role instead. The humiliation was total. The message from Hollywood was clear. America wasn't ready for a Chinese man as its hero. So Bruce Lee did what he had always done when the world tried to put a ceiling on him. He refused to accept it. He turned east. He signed a deal with Golden Harvest Studios in Hong Kong, and in early 1971, he flew to Bangkok, Thailand, to film his first leading role in an Asian production. The film was called The Big Boss. It was his second chance at everything. But Thailand wasn't waiting for him with open arms. The Thai film industry had its own culture, its own hierarchy, its own warriors. The stunt coordinators on the set were not men who had trained in gymnasiums watching instructional films. They were Muay Thai fighters, men who had competed in real rings, who had broken their shins on heavy bags since childhood, who measured a man's worth by his ability to absorb punishment and deliver it back. They had watched dozens of Hong Kong martial arts films. They had seen the wire work, the camera tricks, the choreography designed to make ordinary men look superhuman. To them, Kung Fu was cinema magic. Nothing more. When Bruce Lee arrived on set, they sized him up the way fighters always size up strangers. They saw a lean Chinese-American man, 30 years old, weighing around 135 pounds. They saw an actor, a foreigner, someone who moved well, who had clearly trained, but who had never, in their estimation, been truly tested. They didn't say this loudly at first. They said it in Thai, under their breath, in the casual shorthand of men who don't expect to be understood by outsiders. What they didn't know was that Bruce Lee, through years of studying martial arts traditions from across Asia, had picked up enough Thai to catch the drift of what was being said around him. He heard it. He said nothing. He kept working, but some tensions cannot be contained forever. And the event that finally forced the confrontation into the open was, on the surface, remarkably small. 3 weeks into filming. The location is an outdoor set in the Thai countryside. The temperature is pushing past 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Everyone is exhausted. Everyone is irritable. The production is behind schedule. The heat is punishing. And patience on every side has been worn thin. Bruce is directing one of the fight sequences himself. This was always his method. His insistence on controlling the choreography to ensure it looked authentic. He is working with a group of Thai stuntmen, showing them exactly how to attack him, where to position their bodies, how to commit to the movement so the camera captures something real. one of the stuntmen, a Muay Thai champion. A man who had fought professionally in the rings of Bangkok and made a reputation through genuine combat, is not impressed by the instructions he's being given. He has been told to throw a kick and deliberately miss. Pull the technique. Let Bruce Lee counter for the camera. He does it once. He does it twice. 3 times. Each time Bruce says again, closer, more aggressive. Make it look real. On the 4th repetition, something in the fighter snaps. He steps back. He raises his voice. In Thai, loud enough for the entire crew to hear. He shouts words that translate roughly to, "This is fake. Movie Kung Fu is fake. You want to see real fighting? Fight me." The set goes silent. Not the polite, embarrassed silence of a minor awkward moment. The total silence of 100 people who have just heard something they cannot unhear, who know that whatever happens next will define the atmosphere of this entire production. Cameras stop rolling. Tools are set down. Eyes move from the Thai stuntman to Bruce Lee, waiting to see what he will do. A translator starts to move toward Bruce, nervously, carefully. "Mr. Lee," he's saying. "I know what he's saying," Bruce says. His voice is completely calm. He looks at the stuntman. "You want to test me?" The stuntman steps forward. He is around 5 feet 10 inches tall, built from years of authentic combat conditioning, lean, hard muscle, the kind of physique that doesn't come from a gym but from real training, real fighting. His knuckles are scarred. His shins have been calcified through years of conditioning kicks against bamboo and heavy bags. He is not performing toughness. He is the real thing. Kung Fu doesn't work against Muay Thai, he says. "I'll show you." Bruce Lee doesn't get angry. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't flinch. He simply nods once, the slow, deliberate nod of a man who has been waiting for exactly this moment his entire career. "Okay," he says. "After we finish this scene, no cameras, just you, me, and witnesses. Try to imagine what the next several hours felt like for everyone on that set. Word travels instantly. By lunchtime, every crew member, every extra, every person within earshot knows what is coming. The Thai contingent is excited. Finally, they will see whether this Hong Kong actor can back up what he shows on screen. The Hong Kong contingent is terrified. If Bruce loses, it isn't just his reputation that collapses. It's the entire film. What happens to the big boss if its star arrives on set the next morning visibly beaten, possibly injured, publicly humiliated in front of the entire cast? The director Lo Wei pulls Bruce aside during the lunch break. His concern is genuine, his argument logical. "Bruce, you don't have to do this," he says. "This man is a professional Muay Thai fighter. He fights for money. He's fought in real rings. If you get injured, we lose the film. We lose everything." Bruce looks at him steadily. "If I back down, I lose all respect. Not just here, everywhere. Word spreads. I have to do this. What if you lose?" A pause. Not the hesitation of uncertainty, but the deliberate silence of a man who has already calculated every angle of what he is about to do. "I won't lose." He turns and walks back to work. For the rest of the afternoon, while tension coils through every corner of the set, Bruce Lee films his scenes with perfect professionalism. During breaks, he stretches lightly. He does some shadow boxing. He drinks water. He shows no anxiety, no agitation, no sign that anything unusual is about to happen. To everyone watching him, this calm is either the mark of supreme confidence or supreme delusion. Nobody yet knows which. 6 o'clock in the evening. Filming wraps. And nobody leaves. The crew forms a large circle in an open area of the set, a natural amphitheater of dirt and dust. With the jungle pressing in from all sides and the last golden light of the Thai afternoon painting everything amber. Word has traveled beyond the immediate production. Local extras who should have gone home hours ago have stayed. Villagers from the surrounding area who heard the news have gathered at the edges. Nearly 100 people form the ring. Maybe more. The air is electric. Not with the choreographed excitement of a movie, but with the specific, charged tension of something genuine. Something that can't be planned, can't be controlled, can't be retaken if it goes wrong. The Muay Thai champion is warming up on one side of the circle. He rolls his shoulders, throws practice kicks into the air, loosens the muscles of a man who knows exactly how his body works in combat. His expression is confident. In his mind, this is already over. Kung Fu practitioners, in his experience, don't know how to take a real hit. They train in controlled environments against cooperative partners, following choreography. He will land one devastating low kick to Bruce's lead leg, a technique designed to progressively destroy an opponent's mobility, and this movie star will collapse. Or quit, or both. On the other side of the circle, Bruce Lee removes his shirt. The crowd gasps. Not because of who he is, but because of what they see. Every muscle on his body is defined with a precision that suggests not just training, but obsession. Zero excess body fat. Visible striations in his chest and shoulders. Forearms that look like they belong to a man twice his size. He is 135 pounds of coiled, concentrated power. And standing there shirtless in the fading Thai light, he looks less like a movie actor and more like something sculpted for a specific and terrible purpose. Someone marks a rough circle in the dirt, about 20 feet in diameter. No rules are discussed. No formal agreement is made. Both men simply step inside the boundary, and the 100 people watching understand instinctively. Whatever happens within that circle, it's real. They face each other. The champion takes his Muay Thai stance, high guard, weight distributed toward the rear leg, perfectly balanced for explosive offensive movement. He can throw kicks, knees, elbows, or punch combinations from this position with devastating efficiency. It is the stance of a system developed over centuries of actual warfare, refined through generations of ring competition into one of the most effective striking arts in human history. Bruce Lee takes his Jeet Kune Do stance. Side-facing, minimal target presented to his opponent. Lead hand extended to control distance. Rear hand protecting his center line. It looks nothing like traditional Kung Fu. It looks nothing like karate or boxing or any other art the Thai fighters have seen. It looks frankly like something improvised. Something personal. Something that hasn't been tested against real violence. For approximately 5 seconds, they simply circle each other, measuring, calculating. Two philosophies staring across 20 feet of dirt. About to collide. Then, the champion attacks. It is a lightning-fast low kick aimed directly at Bruce's lead leg. The technique is textbook Muay Thai, a chopping strike designed to target the thigh or knee, to damage the opponent's ability to move and fight, to create a structural disadvantage that compounds with every subsequent exchange. It is the first tool that Muay Thai fighters reach for against unknown opponents, because it works against everyone. Boxers, wrestlers, karate, men, everyone. Bruce checks it perfectly. He lifts his knee at precisely the correct moment, absorbing the impact on his shin rather than his thigh, neutralizing the technique entirely. Then, without any visible reset, without any telegraphed preparation, he fires a straight punch that snaps the champion's head backward. It is fast. It is so fast that several witnesses will later struggle to describe exactly what they saw. The speed isn't normal. It isn't the speed of a trained athlete performing a technique. It is something else, something that looks almost mechanical in its precision, as if the delay between thought and action has been eliminated entirely. The champion is shocked. That punch hurt. That check was technically perfect. This is not what he expected. He resets, recalibrates, throws a fake low kick, designed to draw the knee check reaction, then switches, mid-motion to a high roundhouse kick aimed at Bruce's head. It is a beautiful technique, the kind of combination that works against opponents who have been conditioned to react predictably. Bruce ducks under it. He steps forward into the clinch, which is theoretically exactly where a Muay Thai fighter wants to be. The clinch is Muay Thai's domain. It is where knees and elbows become lethal weapons. Where the superior clinch, fighter can break an opponent's ribs and collapse their sternum in a matter of seconds. But Bruce doesn't play the Muay Thai clinch game. He doesn't try to compete on ground the champion owns. Instead, he does something the champion doesn't expect, something drawn not from any single martial art, but from Bruce's years of studying every system he could find. He traps the champion's lead arm. He hooks his leg. And he sweeps him to the ground. The champion crashes into the Thai dirt. Hard. The crowd erupts. Not in cheers, in gasps. The sharp, involuntary collective inhale of people watching something they can't quite process. This is the moment that 50 years of whispered retellings always linger on. Because what happens next reveals everything about Bruce Lee that no film ever quite captured. He doesn't follow the champion to the ground to finish him. He doesn't gloat. He doesn't play to the crowd. He simply steps back and gives the champion space to get back to his feet. Because what Bruce wants isn't a submission. It isn't a tap out. What he wants is to prove something that cannot be proven on the ground. It has to be proven standing, in full view of every person watching. The champion scrambles upright. He is embarrassed. He is angry. And anger in a real fighter doesn't make you worse. It makes you dangerous, because it strips away hesitation. He charges. A full offensive combination, jab, cross, low kick, thrown with the committed power of a man who has nothing left to lose in this moment, except his pride. Bruce slips the punches. Not with dramatic movement, not with the telegraphed defensive technique of someone trained to perform defense for a camera. With millimeter precision, his head moves just far enough to make the punches miss. Nothing wasted, nothing theatrical. The low kick comes. He checks it again. Perfect. Automatic. Then he explodes forward. A straight lead punch. Jeet Kune Do's signature weapon. The technique Bruce spent years perfecting. The punch that travels the shortest possible distance at the highest possible speed lands directly in the champion's solar plexus. The witnesses who are standing at the right angle say they don't actually see the punch land. They see the champion's body react to it. They see him double over, gasping, as his diaphragm goes into temporary spasm. Then Bruce throws a side kick into the champion's chest. Not full power. Bruce Lee at full power, the witnesses will later agree, would have done something very different. But enough. More than enough. The champion stumbles backward. Outside the circle. He drops to his knees trying to breathe, his diaphragm paralyzed, the dust of the Thai countryside rising around him in the last light of the evening. He is not knocked unconscious. He is not broken. But he is finished, and every person in that circle knows it. And he knows it, and the only question left is what happens in the 10 seconds after the fight ends. The 10 seconds. That will define what this moment means for everyone who witnessed it. The fight has lasted approximately 45 seconds. Bruce Lee walks toward the champion. He extends his hand. There's no mockery in his eyes. No triumph, no performance, no "I told you so" radiating from his expression. What witnesses describe seeing in Bruce Lee's face at this moment is something more complicated and more impressive than victory. It is respect. Genuine, uncomplicated respect for a man who had the courage to step into that circle and test himself against an unknown quantity. The champion looks up. He takes the hand. Muay Thai is a great art, Bruce says, in the broken mixture of Thai and English that he has been using to communicate on set. You are a strong fighter, but no style is complete. You relied only on Muay Thai, I used everything: Wing Chun, boxing, wrestling, footwork. That is Jeet Kune Do, using what works. The champion is still catching his breath. But he nods. Something has shifted in him, not just the physical humility of a man who has been beaten, but the deeper, more consequential humility of a man who has genuinely learned something. I was wrong, he says. I'm sorry. No sorry needed, Bruce replies. You tested me. I respect that. Now we train together, yes? What happened after that fight changed the entire atmosphere of the production. In the days that followed, the Muay Thai champion, the man who had publicly challenged Bruce Lee as a fraud, became one of his most dedicated training partners. They worked together every morning before filming began. Bruce showed him the principles of Jeet Kune Do, the economy of motion, the straight-line attack philosophy, the way different disciplines could be stripped of their ceremonial elements and reduced to pure functional efficiency. The champion showed Bruce things in return: the devastating mechanics of Muay Thai's long-range kicks, the brutal efficiency of clinch work, the conditioning methods that had turned his body into a weapon. It was in miniature exactly what Bruce Lee had always believed martial arts should be. Two warriors from different traditions, learning from each other without ego. The Thai stuntmen watched this exchange, and their skepticism evaporated. They began to understand something they hadn't before. Bruce Lee wasn't a movie star who had learned to fake fighting well enough to fool a camera. He was a genuine martial artist who happened to also be a movie star. A man whose on-screen speed and power weren't cinematic tricks, but accurate representations of what he actually could do. The choreography they had dismissed as impossible wasn't impossible at all. It was simply him. Word of the fight spread through Bangkok's martial arts community in the way that news always travels in tight-knit professional worlds, fast, layered with exaggeration, but carrying an undeniable core of truth. By the time it reached the gyms and training halls of the city, the story had been distorted in multiple directions. Some versions had Bruce knocking out the champion with a single punch. Some versions had the fight lasting 10 minutes, with the champion putting up an epic resistance before finally falling. Some versions had Bruce walking away without a scratch, but the 100 people who were actually there told essentially the same story. Bruce Lee, a man who weighed 135 pounds and had spent his career being dismissed as a movie performer, dominated a professional Muay Thai fighter in under a minute. And he did it not with the techniques of any single martial art, but with the integrated, adaptive, style-transcending approach that he had been developing and refining since he was a teenager in Hong Kong. The Big Boss finished filming that summer. It was released in October 1971, within weeks. It had shattered every box office record in Hong Kong. Bruce Lee went from respected martial arts practitioner to cultural phenomenon. Overnight, a megastar whose face appeared on posters from Kowloon to Singapore, whose name became shorthand not just for a person, but for an entire philosophy of what a human being could become through total dedication to a craft. The Western world was beginning to notice. Hollywood executives who had told him no were suddenly reconsidering. American martial artists who had dismissed his techniques were watching him on film and feeling something uncomfortable. The recognition that a man they had underestimated was operating at a level they couldn't easily categorize or explain. But in Bangkok on that film set, the people who had witnessed the fight already knew everything that the rest of the world was still in the process of discovering. They had seen it with their own eyes. They had heard the punch land. They had watched the Muay Thai champion drop to his knees in the Thai dust. One crew member, interviewed decades later, described it this way: "I've seen many fights. In the ring, in the street, on movie sets. But I've never seen anyone move the way Bruce Lee moved that day. It wasn't human speed. It was something else. Like watching a principle of physics, not a person. The champion, his name changed in every version of the story. As names tend to be in accounts where privacy and legend intersect, never spoke publicly about what happened in that circle. He gave no interviews, made no appearances on the circuit of martial arts exhibitions and demonstrations where former opponents of famous fighters sometimes seek their 15 minutes. He simply continued training, continued fighting, continued living the life of a serious martial artist in a country that took martial arts seriously. But on the wall of his gym, according to multiple sources who visited him in subsequent years, he hung a single photograph. It showed two men standing together, both shirtless, both smiling, the kind of smile that belongs to warriors who have met each other honestly and come away with something more valuable than victory or defeat. The photograph was taken the day after the fight. Both men smiling. Both of them changed by what had happened between them. The inscription on the photograph, if there was one, has never been recorded. But the image itself said everything that needed to be said. Two men from different traditions, different countries, different philosophies about what fighting means and what the human body can do. Who found, in 45 seconds of real combat, the thing that no number of training sessions or academic discussions could have produced. Mutual respect. Earned, not given. Real, not performed. Jeet Kune Do, the system Bruce Lee created and spent his life refining, was never meant to be a style in the conventional sense. Bruce hated the word style. He believed that styles were limitations, boxes that fighters climbed into voluntarily, surrendering adaptability for the comfort of a fixed identity. A Muay Thai fighter fights like a Muay Thai fighter. A boxer fights like a boxer. A karate man fights like a karate man. And in a controlled environment, against a comparable opponent from a similar background. These styles work, but put them against something genuinely unknown, against a man who has studied every available system and taken the most functional elements from each, who fights not from a stylistic template, but from pure responsive instinct, and the limitation of the style becomes the limitation of the fighter. The Muay Thai champion in that circle was a formidable warrior. He was not outmatched in terms of strength, or conditioning, or courage, or genuine fighting experience. He was outmatched by a philosophy, by the idea, radical in 1971, commonplace in the a world of today, that the best fighter is not the one who has mastered a style, but the one who has transcended all styles entirely. This is Bruce Lee's greatest legacy, and it is the thing the secret fight in Thailand demonstrated more clearly than any film could have. Because in a film, you control the variables. You choreograph the danger. You edit out the moments where the idea doesn't work. But in a circle drawn in the dirt of a Thai film set, with 100 witnesses and no cameras, and a real Muay Thai champion coming at you with real intent, there is no editing. There is only truth. And the truth, on that particular evening in 1971, was this: Bruce Lee was not performing. He had never been performing. Every technique, every principle, every philosophy he had put on screen was an accurate representation of something real, something he had tested, refined, and proven to himself in conditions far less comfortable than a movie set. The champion learned this the hard way. But he learned it completely, which is perhaps the most important thing. And in the years that followed, as Bruce Lee's legend grew to proportions that neither man could have imagined on that Thai afternoon, the champion had something that no journalist, no documentary, no biographer could give to anyone else. He had been there. He had stepped into the circle. He had felt the punchland. He knew that no footage exists of the fight. No recording was made. No photograph was taken in the moment. No journalist was present to document it for posterity. It lives only in the memories of the witnesses who were there, memories that have blurred and contradicted each other over 50 years. As memories always do, but that agree on the essential facts with remarkable consistency. What we know is this. In Bangkok, in 1971, on the set of the film that would make him a legend, Bruce Lee was challenged by a professional Muay Thai fighter and accepted the challenge without hesitation. He fought without rules, without equipment, without the protection of choreography or camera angles. And when it was over, 45 seconds after it began, the man who had called Kung Fu fake was on his knees in the dirt, and Bruce Lee was extending his hand. And the fight had proven something that 50 more years of martial arts films and YouTube debates and gym arguments have never quite managed to settle definitively, that skill matters more than style, that speed matters more than size, and that the man who is willing to use everything, who has stripped away ego and tradition and the comfort of a fixed identity, will always have an advantage over the man who fights from inside a box. Bruce Lee built the box that the entire world of mixed martial arts now lives in. He built it not in a gym, not on a film set, not in the pages of a philosophical treatise, but in moments exactly like the one that happened in Thailand, moments where everything was real and the only thing that mattered was the truth. And the truth, as always, was faster than anyone expected. But here's what nobody talked about for the next decade, the thing that the witnesses whispered only to each other. In private, years later, the fight in Thailand wasn't the only test Bruce Lee faced during the production of The Big Boss. There was another confrontation, a different kind of challenge, one that didn't involve fists at all, and whose outcome was, in many ways, more consequential than anything that happened in that dirt circle. What was it? And why did Bruce Lee himself never speak of it publicly? That story has never been told. Until now.